recently finished this book called The Little Liar by Mitch Albom. Reading that book made me think a lot about the ethnic erasure of Judaism and what Jewish people went through, and particularly the intentional manipulation of faith and religion, because in that book it gave you a step-by-step guide on ethnic erasure, basically, where first they took away your job, then they took away your home, then they took away your religion, and lastly they took away your family. And I thought that was just very heartbreaking, but also very strategic, and it shows that there's this deeper layer of intentional manipulation of religion and faith. It makes me think about one very classic piece of literature called The Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe. It is set in the Spanish Inquisition, and it talks about how Jewish people had to go through this physical and psychological abuse in order to be persuaded to give up their religion. It also reminds me a lot about A Torture by Hope, which is another short story by Auguste de l'Isle-Adam. It is similar to The Pit and the Pendulum in that it's set in the Spanish Inquisition, but in the second piece, A Torture by Hope, it talks about a torture by hope, basically, where hope can be very detrimental, which reminds me back once again to The Little Liar, when Jewish people, they were boarded on the train to Poland under this lies that they were promised a new life basically in Poland, and that's why they decided to follow through and go on the train. So once again, this manipulation that's deeper, that's very unconscious. So if you're interested in reading more about religion and the ethnic erasure specifically of Judaism, then I would recommend checking out The Little Liar by Mitch Albom, but also the other two classic short stories that I mentioned. There's also this debate going on between whether or not Christianity and Judaism, which one is the better religion. So once again, putting religion on a pedestal, but also trying to measure religion, which is, I think, a very interesting concept. Also, if you want to watch a film that's adapted from those source stories, so if you're not a reading person or a book person, then there's another film adaptation of kind of like a merge between The Pit and the Pendulum and also The Torture by Hope. Talks about this very dark and manipulative, once again, very even gruesome and gothic adaptation of the Spanish Inquisition and Judaism, which I thought was also interesting. I believe The Pit and the Pendulum also have its own adaptation in terms of movies, so if that's something that you're interested, I'm gonna put them on the screen somewhere, so feel free to click on and check them out. I think Judaism is something that is more well-known, more mentioned, but I obviously think and I believe that there are other religions that have been wiped away and washed away by either colonialism or just, intentional